Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my channel and my very first action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at the Marvel Spider-Man Classic Spider-Man figures, the black suited version over here and the red suited version over here. These figures hold a very special place in my heart. They were my childhood favorite toys. I remember sitting there loving these, watching the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy over and over again, and I absolutely love these guys. So this will be a biased review. Also, this is not going to be like other reviews. Usually I'll get new figures and I'll open them up straight out of the packaging. I'll show off the packaging on camera, but since this is my very first one, I wanted it to be special. So I am not only doing my childhood favorite toys, but I'm releasing this video on my birthday. I'm 17 today, so I hope everyone's doing good, and I hope you enjoy the review. So let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start off by, we'll get the figures out here closer in a little while, but we're gonna start off by looking at the accessories. So the regular Spider-Man comes with this big web with suction cups on the edges. I don't know, I've never really used this before, but I've kept it around, so I think it's pretty cool. I really like how pliable it is, how stretchy it is. Like I said, I'm not going to use it for anything, but I think it looks really good. I think it feels good. If you imagine how you think Spider-Man's web would feel, it pretty much just feels like that. It's rubbery, stuff like that. You can suction it onto things. I don't remember it working all that well, but again, I was never really attached to it. So there's that. The mold is really done really well, and yeah, it's cool. So the only accessory that's the only one that classic Spider-Man comes with, and the only accessory that black suited Spider-Man comes with is this goofy glider thing. And while I've never been a fan of this web that came with classic Spidey, I've really never been attached to this one. I mean, look at it. I mean, the sculpt is really good. The mold is really good. It would be really good if this was something that anybody cared about, but you got these loops on there, and to demonstrate how it works, you just take your Spider-Man and you get him ready, and you can assemble his feet. Here, let me do it on camera. You can just slide him right in there, and here's how he looks on it, which is really weird because they're not like spread out at all, so he's kind of just facing forward. I don't really like this accessory, but it's not what we're here to talk about. So now that we got the accessories out of the way, we can talk about the stars of the show. And let's start off with black suited Spider-Man. Now, overall, I mentioned I obviously was really attached to these guys. I remember I got them at the same time I got them from Toys R Us. I remember the exact day, and I remember all the memories that obviously I remember the memories. But I just remember loving these guys. So if we take a look at the head sculpt, you can see I got a little paint rubbing, just well loved on the edge of the eye. Little nick right there. I don't know what that's from. Like I said, these are well loved. I've had these for many years. I think these are both from 2008. So that should give you an idea of how long I've had them. But the sculpt is really good. I think they did a good job with the paint in the eyes. That was all me. I take full responsibility for that. Even if it was there when I got it, I don't remember. So I take responsibility for that. And we have the spider on the chest. Looks pretty good. I love the sculpt. Like, you can see all the muscle definition in there. You can see it on the arms. The spider looks pretty good. It's obviously worn as well. You can see right in there, and it's kind of faded a little bit. I don't know if that was all me or if they kind of skimped out on the paint a little bit, but can see it's on the back. It's, you know, pretty scratched up, but I think that's for me. If you crunch them forward, you can see it continues back in there, and it's the same on the front, but you can't really crunch them back anyway. We're gonna do the articulation later, and it's pretty well illustrated right here. You can see the split right there. The spider legs connect fairly decent. I mean, you can see the split, but they're aligned fairly decent is what I mean. Looking at the other side, looks good. And if we look at the hands, very accurate. Once again, some paint wear on that white over the black, but I think it looks good. And the rest is just black, but there's something to be said about this sculpt. I mean, I think it looks really good. Look at that. On those legs and everything. You can see the symbiote like mixing with the muscles. Look at those calves, man. My gosh, some people skip leg day. Not Spider-Man. There's the glutes. I mentioned 100 times that I got this whenever I was a child, and I always thought that was so funny. He's got crazy buttocks. Like, look at that. All right, so that was a good look at symbiote Spider-Man. Now let's get a look at the hero. Now, this thing, I knew it even when I was a little kid. Hold on, let me switch it a little bit here. Change the light mode. Maybe you can see a little better. That's about the same, but it's okay. The color is supposed to be red and blue, but it really came out on the figure. On the camera, it looks kind of orange, but on the figure, it looks more like salmon pink color and purple. You know, it kind of bothered me as a kid, but, you know, not really. I still had fun with it. I still knew what it was supposed to be. If we look at the edge right here, you know, obviously the side of the neck and the head, that looks crazy. I mean, he is really hunched forward like that, and he's got to look almost as far up as he can to get him looking straight forward, and I don't like that at all. I mean, look at this head. It comes off very easy. I mean, very easy. So we gotta be careful with that. It's a very exaggerated Spider-Man, but you can see the sculpted muscle work, sculpting on the abs, more sculpted ribs and everything. Another thing to note is these lines in here, they're all sculpted, and it looks really good. You know, you can feel it. And they're painted in there, it looks good. It's like the silver webbing, it kind of reminds me of Sam Raimi's, which I honestly thought it was whenever I first got this, you know. First got this, there was only one Spider-Man to me. That was Sam Raimi's. The spider is also sculpted around the edges. They kind of missed the mark with paint there. But once again, that could have been wear from me. And look at the butt comparison. I mean, come on. Does the symbiote really crawl that far into the crack? Alright, that's enough of that. But you can see this is kind of a more matted plastic, where the rest of the figure is kind of a more glossy plastic. You know, it's the same on the front. So I don't really know exactly what's up with that. I mean, you know, just different print, but it doesn't bug me that much. It's kind of the same as it is in the joints. And then here's the legs, still all sculpted and beautifully painted. I love the muscle in both of these. That's something that I think a lot of figures are missing, honestly. And there's the bottom of the feet. He does have peg holes, some information. Here, let's see. Does symbiote Spider-Man have peg holes? Yes, he does. Down there. Let's take a closer look at the head. Here, if I can get him to... I'm gonna have to kick him forward and get him down in front of the camera. It's not too bad. I mean, the sculpt is outstanding. I love this design. I love how exaggerated like his chin and his nose are. I think it looks really good, and I love the eyes. But it's kind of, I don't know, it looks like they kind of missed the mark with the paint on the eyes, and that's a little unfortunate. But once again, and they missed the mark a little bit on these webs, but I can't complain about that. I mean, they truly tried to sculpt all that, and and painted at the same time, and it's just incredible, and I love it. It's if you look at it, it's like a very wide-shouldered Spider-Man, but then he gets so skinny. It's kind of weird, and like I said, it's very exaggerated. You can see here, very unfortunate, I am missing a pointer finger. I was so sad whenever I broke that off, but yeah, he comes with one wide open hand that you can kind of hook in that web that we talked about earlier, and he comes with one web spinning hand that is completely all like this. It doesn't have like fingers bent or anything like that, you know, how like a lot on a lot of the live action Spider-Man figures, he's kind of got the fingers bent, because it's kind of hard to do that without bending your fingers. But I actually like it all completely sprawled out, just because in my mind that's kind of how I know it. And another thing to note is this peg right here in the elbow kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. It's not painted or sculpted or anything, and it sticks up pretty far. So that's something, but it's, you know, it's fine. Yeah, so long shot of the back, long shot of the front, we kind of already did that. And yeah, let's get into the articulation, and we'll start with this guy since we already got him out. Here, let me just adjust. There, his head can move up only that much. Like I said, he's looking pretty much all the way up to compensate for this neck being moved forward, and it does come off very, very easy. Head moves down that far, he will turn side to side, and he does have quite a bit of pivot. You know, he can look around pretty much where we want him to, except up further than that. His arms will move outward that much, so you have no trouble getting the T, if not a little more than the T. But here's a big issue: they only move down that far, which is really unfortunate. They go forward, they go back. Single jointed elbow bends in that far, wrist turn side to side, and hinge up and down. Both of them hinge the same direction. He does have a waist swivel, and the legs, they will kick forward this far. So if you want to get him sitting down, he's gonna lean back a little bit, but you can kind of do it. They swivel, and if you swivel them all the way and get the joint facing outwards, you can get his legs split that far, which looks weird because the feet are facing out. Anyways, moving down, double blade jointed knee, ankles move down, and they do move up, and there's no pivot or anything. So that's kind of unfortunate because it helps with posing. But anyway, let's get on to the Black Spider-Man. So here he is, and the head can't move up at all whatsoever. It does move down that far, turns side to side, and it hinges, or not hinges, but it rotates a little bit. There's no hinge in the head, don't want to confuse anybody. But his arms will move outward that far, pretty far for the T-pose, I mean, even further. They do move down that far. We'll rotate forward, back. He has a single jointed elbow that's kind of in a weird place because you can't get any wrist rotation, so it's just right there. And you do have elbow rotation as well. But if you rotate it around, then you can get it to bend right there, which kind of looks okay. And the wrists, both wrists are locked in position. He does have a diaphragm joint that can turn side to side. It can pivot a little bit, and he will crunch forward just that much, back a little bit. And for his crunch, his head cannot look up enough to compensate for it, so that's unfortunate. He does have these wide joints that I cannot stand. This is, if you do this on an action figure, that is my biggest flaw, period, always. But anyways, it's just like the Spider-Man, the other Spider-Man, basically. Whichever one the joint is facing, whichever side the joint is facing, he can kick that direction, obviously. So he kicks forward that much. You're not maybe gonna get him to sit, yeah, so that's what it looks like if you're trying to get him to sit. But anyways, they don't move back at all because of those big butt cheeks. But if you rotate it sideways, he will kick outward that much, just like that. And with this one, it is a little bit better because you can't swivel that way, so you can get his knees facing forward. Still don't like the system at all. But he rotates, obviously, single jointed knee, rotation at the knee, and these ankles, man, these are so tight. They're so stiff. I have never been able to budge them, seriously. I mean, you can see there's a joint there and there, but I've never been able to budge them. So as far as I'm concerned, he just has rotation at the ankle, and that's all. So anyways, let's measure these guys out, and then we can get them into some size comparisons. So scoot him back that far, and get regular one out here. Scoot him back that far in here. We'll scoot them over so that we have room to get some other guys out here. And for the heights, this guy is standing right at about 6 inches tall. This guy is standing about the same height there, about the same height, which makes sense because they are the same character. So to get a couple other Spider-Man figures out here, we have the Marvel Legends Far From Home Spidey right there. And we have arguably the best Spider-Man figure ever made, at least in the 6-inch scale, the Marvel Legends Classic 2020 Retro Spider-Man, if I can get him to stand up. Beautiful. Here. Adjust. Boom. That's what they look like next to those guys. So, all in all, I really like these, but I understand that they're not as great as a lot of the figures in my collection, a lot of figures that I have, but I'm attached to them, you know. I do like this one better just because I've always associated him being the good guy, obviously, and he's just been kind of my best pal, if that's not too corny. But I do enjoy him quite a bit. So yeah, those are my thoughts. That's my review. Out of 10, I'm biased, so I'll usually do like a score out of 10, but since I'm biased, I am going to give both of these a 10 out of 10, even though if you bought them now, you would not think that they were 10 out of 10. There are a lot of flaws. They're very well loved. And I have nothing but love to this day for them because they were just part of me for the longest time, and I guess they're still part of me. They still go on my display shelf with the rest of my better figures. You know, they still fit in just fine there, and I'm happy to have them. So I'm not gonna ask for likes or subscription or anything, but I will ask that you please leave a comment because I'm just doing this for fun, and I would love to know what I could do better. This is my very first action figure review, and like I said, I'm just doing it for fun. I'm doing it because I don't really have a whole lot of people to talk about action figures with, and I figured if I can have like a base, you know, a platform, then I could find other people who enjoy them just as much as I do. So please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these figures. Do you have these figures? What are some figures that are, you know, close to your heart that you wouldn't really trade for any of them? And also, please just let me know how I could do better with these reviews. I know I'm running a little on the long side. That's because it's all in one take. I'm about to get some better equipment, so the shots will be better, but like I said, I really wanted to get these particular figures done, and I really wanted to get this review out today because it is my birthday, and I wanted it to be special. So I hope you're all doing good. Hope you enjoyed my review. Hope you found it informative, and I'll see you later. Peace.